since the liner fit so well on Bella, I decided it was time to work with my nice material, or my outside material. So you have to decide what side you're going to put it on. Here, I had to put my safety pins up higher, so I actually just put it off and gave myself an extra inch for my sewing line. But yeah, you have to make sure you decide what side you're going to need, and make sure that you don't make two of the same side. Definitely double check before you do any type of cutting. That is very important. So here what I did is I pinned my liner to the nice side, like this is the side that I want to be on the outside. And what I did is I cut on the back edge, and then I took my roll and I actually, so it's not connected, and I actually flipped the roll. So this is the bad side, this is going on the inside, and this is the good side going on the outside. If I was gonna just make two and not having flipped the roll, then I would have had two of the same side. So by flipping the roll, I can maintain it straight, and then I'm going to end up tracing and cutting at the same time, but they're going to be two different sides so that we get the left and the right side. So I'll make sure you pin it up well. Here I removed the liner. I have my two sides. This is good side, and then on the inside we have bad side, which means I have two proper pieces. I had made marks on the liner, so I remade them on this material. I find this important because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to reinforce with an extra piece of material so that my D-rings will stay better, so that they can clip to the saddle and be tighter and less chance of ripping. Okay, so here I folded my one really big butt piece in two very carefully, and I pinned it around. My nice cloth is not doubled at this point, and you have to make sure, so the horse is, this is going to be the front of the horse, and the back section is going to be the back of the horse. So you got to make sure that your pattern is going the same direction as the front piece is, just so it looks more uniform. As you can see here, I made a margin, right? We're going to have to do two pieces with this, so we need a margin for that. Very important. Okay, so now I cut sort of both pieces. They're pinned together. It doesn't matter if it's right side to right side or bad side to bad side, since they're rectangles. It's even, it really doesn't matter. So the only thing that's gonna change is my anchor points are gonna have to be replaced properly, or I'm gonna have to flip the material, make sure everything is placed properly. As you can see, I have my margin, right? Because we're gonna have to sew it together. And we don't need margins on the edges because we just want it to be the same size as our liner. So now I've actually cut both my pieces and I've pinned them properly. So here we can see good side against good side, bad side, bad side. And I folded my liner and I laid it out perfectly, and then I made sure that my seam allowance where I'm gonna sew is nice and straight. Very important. And also I wanted to lay it out. Oh yeah, put an arrow for the head, right? Because we want to know which side we're doing because of there's the mark for one of the rings. There's the one that goes to the front of the saddle, or to the back of the saddle, and there's the one that goes around the ass. If I can just find it, it's somewhere over here. Oh, there it is. So yeah, so it's pretty much ready to sew now because I want to put some reinforcements where I'm going to be putting those rings. So now we're finally ready to get to sewing. So there's my material. Make sure you have a string that matches well. This one actually matches really well. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to make a bobbin, right? That's the stuff that goes underneath. I have sort of a weird setup. If you had a normal spool, it would just go right there, but mine's too big, so I just stick it in a cup behind. So I need to put it through the safety pin here, or through paper clip works well too. And then you need to put it around this round section there, and then it's going to go attached to the bobbin right there. So here the bobbin is on the little stake. My string has been through. I placed it through a hole and I'm holding it up. I have to push it towards the stop, which is that white thing, and then I have to pull the big white button out like that, And then I'm going to hold my string, sit down, and gently press on the pedal, and it's going to start turning and filling the bobbin. Here the bobbin is completely filled, so you push it to the left, and then you want to press your button right now, and then you clip it off. And then if you go around the side of the machine right there, there's sort of a little metal thing you can slip it, and it cuts it off. Okay, so now we gotta get the machine strung up. So it goes through my sort of safety pin, and then it goes around that corner. You see there's an arrow right there. Get that around. And we go down. So we get it through that nice groove, and at the bottom there's sort of you gotta do a U-turn. You take it around, get it up. Come on, there we go. And then I don't remember what this is called, but anyway, it's got to go up. If it's not up, you use that round wheel where that big button was, and it has to go sort of into the slot and into that sort of ring or open space, and then down the other groove. This is very important. It has to go at sort of the top of the foot. There's a slot that's sort of horizontal. It's got to get in there just like that. Then just take the end of the string and stick it through the needle hole. Some machines actually have something to help you. This one doesn't. Sometimes it helps lick the fill to get it in there. So my string is through my needle. As you can see, it's through enough. I'm going to open the little window and take out the bobbin. It's the wrong color. That's not the one I want. This is my right one. Now you have to remember there was that top string on top where I was holding it. You have to make sure to cut it because or else everything gets sort of stuck. And you have to have a nice long string at the end. So I'm pretty lucky. My bobbin section has this pretty little drawing that explains how to put it in. So we're gonna take the bobbin, make sure it's the right direction as the picture is. I'm gonna get into its spot. There we go, not easy one-handed. We're going to look at the picture again. Okay, so it's got to go around sort of that metal section and then towards the back. So there's the metal section. We got to get it to wrap into sort of that little groove. Going to change hands, and we're going to pull that back around towards the back. Perfect. Now what we want to do is we want to do one really slow stitch. So I just passed my one that's through the needle and I put it towards the back to make it easier. I'm going to go with my hand and just make a stitch. So that's the big round thing where the button was. So you just pull it gently towards you and it's going to do one stitch. Now the only thing is you sort of need to hang on to the string. As you can see, my back string was sort of disappearing. If it's not long enough, it'll pull right out of your the needle eye. So I'm going to pull on it, and it's going to gently sort of pull my bobbin string up through. And then one trick I like to use the plastic casing to just sort of help it along. And then once you find sort of the loop, you can grab the loop and pull it through. You can see it's coming out now so that you have both tail ends. And when you pull on both of them, your bobbin spins and your main coil of string spins. That's what you want. That means it's working properly. And then we just put the cover back on. So we're ready to do a test. So this is a piece of just throwaway fabric, and I just want to see how the color and everything goes. So what I like to do on my edges is I will do a zigzag point. So on this machine, to have the zigzag point, it's up here, that's the rondelle. Right now it's the straight point in the center. And then if we turn it, this is the straight point, but a little to the left. And what I really want is the zigzag, which is this one. So now that that's set, I'm gonna, so the zigzag just sort of takes the edge off. So you want to line up your material so that your points are gonna be close to the edge, but always on the material. You don't want to have it go over the edge. I've done that a couple of times, and sometimes the material ends up being a little crooked after. So you want it as close as possible, but still on your material. And this is the foot, so you have to put the foot down. So right now it's up. I'm going to try to realign it so it stays straight. Not an easy task one-handed. Okay, put it back up, put it down. Okay, there we go. So now we're ready to start sewing if we're happy with the placement. So the next step is to slowly step on the pedal to activate the machine. Obviously your machine has to be on. So we're gonna slowly step on it. There we go, it starts to go. So you wanna do a couple of points and then we wanna lock the points in place so it won't undo, and we do that by going backwards. On this machine, it's that button, so you have to press the button down and slowly press your pedal. There we go, we're doing a couple points. Usually you'd be using 2 hands. And then we can go forward again. So I'm using usually my left hand. I use 2 hands, so one hand is sort of usually guiding the back, my left one, and then my right one is usually guiding the front. As you can tell, it's starting to get a little crooked because I'm doing it one-handed, trying to hold the phone. But this is a test, so it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, so now we'll pretend this is the end. So at the end, like at the beginning, you want to press on that button and do a couple of points backwards to lock it into place. So very good. So now we're done. We're going to lift the foot up and we're going to make sure our needle isn't stuck in the material. And if it's stuck, you won't be able to pull it out. You might rip it. So make sure the needle is up. If it's not, you just use the big round button. And like I mentioned earlier, you can just sort of slip it over this little metal thing. It's got a little knife in there and it cuts it off really nice. There we go. And what's very important, at least with my machine, those little extra strings, you got to pull them out. I do at least 6 inches. Because when I forget and I start sewing, it pulls right out of the needle and I gotta re-put it through the needle. And look at that, you can barely even see the zigzag at all. So this is a great color combination for this material. So if by accident there are a couple of points that are seen, they won't show at all. I do find it important, the way I do it is usually everything gets folded, so there shouldn't be any seams that are visible. But I mean, if you end up going a little crooked or whatever, then you might see a couple of seams, so then it's a good idea to have a nice color. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly show you how to do a corner. This is with a straight stitch. I've already done the outside with a zigzag everywhere. So what you want to do is you want to get all the way to the corner, nice close to the edge. And you want to stab your needle in. So I do that by hand. So I get it so the needle goes down. Let's see. Okay. Oh, we can do one more. There we go. There, that's the distance I want. And then what you're going to do is you're going to lift the foot. Lift the foot up, and then you're going to turn your material. Here it's 90 degrees, but depending if it was a lesser angle, you just turn it the angle you need. And then you just simply put your foot down, and you are ready to keep stitching. So all that's left now is to do the zigzag and the straight line over all the different pieces that we've cut out. And thank you very much for your time.